Number 25. Now that we are beginning to reach a level of understanding of the basic format that is the foundation for your cooperative focus within the larger view, it is possible to expand into more levels of information. These are not at the physical activity level, but in the more important area of using creative thought. Inasmuch as you are a focused fragment of the Creator's awareness, it is now time for you to begin to fulfill your purpose of expanding the use of the holographic concept that has been the vehicle of your trip into third-dimensional experience. This is not a process intended to overwhelm or cause resistance within your awareness. These concepts are known to you at deeper levels, and will seem quite familiar provided you relax and follow the wording. These will begin to stir the inner remembrance process. It is within your understanding that a fragment of a whole can through the holographic process depict the whole. It is through the projection of light through the fragment that the illusion of the whole from which it came is reproduced so that the nature of the whole can be known. If this is the case, then you are a picture of the whole from which you were projected. If this is true, then how can there be diversity in what is seen all around you? Shouldn't this be a world of exact replicas? If the source of the replicated whole were limited to one focus of experience, then that would be true. However, if the whole of that source is multidimensional and within its makeup holds the potentiality of multiple foci of purpose, then each projected fragment draws upon that unlimited field of possibilities. Thought provides the mobility that allows creation to flow into manifestation. Thought has the potential of thinking within and upon itself. This is another way of describing free will. Thus these added levels of activity enable endless variety to be present. Now if that is true, why then isn't every fragment totally different? You were created in the image and similitude of that which projected you into existence. Here the law of attraction of similar yet different is seen at work. If that was absent, then there could be no exchange of thought and creation would be just an unending field of unrelated diversity. Enter what you call intelligence, which is nothing more than thought thinking within itself and observing itself observe itself, a spiraling activity. Focused thought thinks itself outward into manifestation. This is a slowing of the vibratory rate of the extended thought to the lowest level at which it can contain its purposeful intent. At that point the manifested thought can no longer perceive its source. It is in a state of thinking awareness that can now perceive itself and its surrounding environment. In your vernacular, it can no longer clearly remember the nature of its source, so it has forgotten. Since it is projected thought, it must maintain its connection in order to remain in manifestation. Through this connection, lies the potentiality of the fragment focusing its own thought processes purposefully back through this connective energy flow and then beginning to remember what it is, which is again thought thinking within and upon itself. Since the holographic projection is an extension process of outward movement of thought, the natural inclination is to continue the outward movement through the use, in this scenario, of its sensatory tools to think, observe. Indeed, we could go on for volumes of books to cover the beginning story of this planet and its history of inhabitants, but that would take us far afield from the purpose of this message. The point is to help you realize that thought thinking within and upon itself is commonly experienced by you because it is exactly what you are. Through choice you create diverse experiences. Through thinking and choosing, each experience is commonly shared situations differently. This is the natural flow of creation within itself. This sounds idealistic when the current situation surrounding you is considered. When multiple human beings, extensions of thought from higher dimensional foci, experience interactions, combined thought patterns evolve. These thought patterns in movement are something like your breathing process. They expand to a certain point and then relax and contract by returning first to a restive state. Involved within this process you experience positive and negative polarities, or so you have named them. It is a slow spiraling process, just as your breathing process was intended to assist you in a slow spiraling process. If these are the parameters of experience, then you can begin to perceive that the contraction-relaxation phase of your process in this moment of planetary experience is not in a normal state. It is very distorted indeed. Your intended freedom of thought choice process has been violated. It is layers of thought distortion experiencing contraction that has bypassed the restive point that normally allows for the return to the expansive mode. Hopefully you can now overlay this understanding upon the planetary experience. If so, you see that in order for the distorted plan to accomplish their moment of beginning, following use of planned chaos, which is to be their field of opportunity to cause a change of polarity, they must allow the restive point to be reached. Their ideal is to attain this by overwhelming the greater part of the conscious awareness of this planet through a majority of its inhabitants. This is to be teamed with the ending, or shifting of a major creative cycle in this galaxy. There exists within their timing and their methodology their greatest weakness. For the contraction of awareness beyond the universal norm, when placed in a momentary rest point, sets up the opportunity for a reactive expansion of major proportions. Carefully placed triggers within the same contracted awareness can ensure this expansion. Welcome to the winning side. Focus and manifest. Indeed. Number 26. It is now appropriate through the shift of greater understanding within the key group of visionaries to begin the focus of the conception of the new paradigm of experience. As is the pattern, many will receive this cosmic stimulation, and the perfect few will respond when the opportunity to participate is presented. Keep in mind that this continuing process will move through phases of birthing within the awareness individually and collectively in a subtle calm transcending movement. Do not expect a massive jumping on the bandwagon type of reaction. It will move outward in a whisper of awareness. Again, think in terms of the patterns of nature. When you observe nature, you see spirals in the slow process of growth as in the spiral of shell formation and within the functioning of breathing. Though invisible in form, it is the process that begins at birth and carries each mammalian form through its sequential life. Consider the birthing process through the format of breathing, expansion, and contraction causing movement toward the goal within a transcending spiral and carrying it to completion. You will see a traveling outward of conceptual information, an in-breath of consideration, again a traveling outward and an in-breath of shared discussion, moving toward the desired focus of new experience. The intent fueled by the desire for new experience will bring forth the process which is being built upon the foundation of foci provided by multiple levels of awareness with supporting intent for this situation to move into a new paradigm. This is the appropriate moment to consider a self-defeating concept that needs to be corrected to ensure success. Through long-planted misinformation by the religions on your planet, you think of the focused assistance as coming to you from the outside. You look outward at the surrounding lights in your sky at night and presume it is coming from out there. Indeed, it is possible to exchange energies at the level of manifestation, however the flow of creation is from the inside out. It is an expansive process. Again, we must remind you of the in and out flow of the breathing process. What your scientists observe as burnout and destruction through black holes, etc. is instead evidence of the breathing process incorporating the spiraling changes of shifts into higher vibratory dimensions. As this happens, appropriate energy fields move through this process. If it was all energy, then what is observed would long ago have been devoured by one single black hole. Here again you can begin to understand the magnitude of the plans of the negative focus in attempting to create through the process of pushing this galaxy through a process opposite the creative flow into an opposing reality. What is perceived by the scientists as the compaction of energy into a tiny ball of massive molecular weight, is of course, total nonsense. The energy is expanding within the conversion process by increasing its vibrational levels as it moves into a new paradigm of expression. Is this galaxy, or a small portion of it, going through the black hole process? There is no awareness of it. What if it was true? If it were to happen, it would hardly be a hellacious experience. Let us return to the point. To say that our plan is in motion does not mean that conscious contacts with seemingly appropriate beings of shared purpose and dedication are near completion. It is this process of conception that is the focus of these lessons. That which is to be accomplished at more subtle levels depends upon this process proceeding within defined parameters. The outflow of this information to those of commitment is encouraged. It is most meaningful in the whole of it, but each can stand alone as is appropriate. Keywords to trip the intercept triggers have been for the most part avoided and the references to beings and processes of interest are made as subtly as possible. It is time that the usage of those be virtually eliminated as our focus of intent is on information that educates and informs you of the true nature of yourselves and the energetic forms and functions of the creation of which you are an integral part. Let us make a point clear. This focus of information is not God speaking directly to you. That which you call by that name is a confused and misunderstood scramble of misinformation. What has happened is that what could be personified into the creator of this galaxy is not the focus of the whole of all that is. To make this understandable, perhaps, let us return again to the breathing process as an example. The underlying all that is pure potentiality and even finer levels beyond that which are imperceptible because to perceive would be to limit it. At its conceptual level, breathing is expansion as you breathe out, rest, and breathe, rest and repeat. Potentiality is most available for absorption, big generalization, in the moments of rest. Throughout the entirety of the expression of potentiality into experience are varying degrees of awareness that have begun their return trips by first realizing they are holographic tiny fragments of the focus of their creator. This creative focus is in turn a tiny fragment of a finer, more encompassing focus of the potentiality that underlies a greater creation that has at some point been birthed from that which lies beyond in an unknowable state. Will we return to that state of unknowingness? Is that our goal at the farthermost reaches of eternity? Doubt it, for it appears that in order to move through the return trip, just exactly the opposite is necessary in order to progress. You must remember that one of your greatest distortions in understanding creation at this level is your concept of needing to measure experience as linear, in what you call time. It is also a great barrier for those of us who are too interested in experience to bother to measure it. We can conceive of no reason to do so, for we know divine order has no sequential parameters. As we return to our discussion of your concept of God, you can now see why we have substituted the term creation and creator instead of using God, in the hope that we could begin to change your perception. The word God itself conjures up feelings that cause inner turmoil in many, since at a deeper level they know that the religious teachings through a long sequence of experience have brought them only confusion. These have given them a distorted representation of the source of their origin. It is important that those who intend to bring forth the new paradigm have at least a basic clarity as to the nature of their identity and of the source of their existence. What lies beyond this galaxy is, at this moment, outside the necessity to understand. To know that it is all that is necessary. Our focus lies within the creation of our Creator. He, androgynous but in the masculine creative mode, can be called God, but frankly a new name is recommended. You may address communication to Him, but it is only received when it harmonizes with the creative outflow of His expression. In His name as an expression in your Bible was meant to tell you to place your focus of prayer within that purposeful intention. You are to make a request that intends creation, within the harmony of His attitude of all that is necessary to bring what you desire is available for your use. You are a fragment of Him, and through you, He, the I am awareness of your connection, is experiencing expansion of the total awareness that is you/He. As you do this, it is a shared experience. As a fragment of Him, you create by attraction all your experiences. But, using the law of intention in harmonious cooperation within His expansive mode is how you create purposeful or new paradigms of experience. It is hoped this information is a blessing through the expansion of your understanding of who and what you are. Yours is a glorious heritage, celebrate it. End number 26.